Sorry guys, I'm trying to get all this stuff squared away here. So I'm going to do a real quick video here. Again, it's Tarek with Cyclone FPV. Let me see. Just decided to do this frame because I've got some of these shipping out. So let me get these. Let me get this camera here set up, and I'll be showing you guys what we're going to be working on here. Give me a second here to just do this real quickly. Let's see if I can do it like this. 1 second. There. All right, let's see if that works. See, okay, so what we're going to be building today is we're going to be doing the I'm going to be showing you guys the frame for the Exodus, right? So if you've been following the Exodus series, and these are the parts laid out right here. God darn it, I always make my face is always too big on this thing. Hold on 1 second. Let me just not get so freaking weird on this thing. 1 sec, and let's shrink me down to about right there. And that should do it. Okay, so what we're looking at is we're going to be doing the Exodus frame, and we came up with the new. I presented you guys a new arm lock setup, which is initially the arm lock was the two arms going together, and now what I've done is I've redone it to where it's all 4 arms, and it's actually become more stable. So I've got this one shipping out tomorrow to Julio Torres out there in California. What's up, Julio? I know you're watching right now. And Lawrence, I see you on. Hey, bud, how's it going? And I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to start making more of the frames like this. I kind of like the idea of being able to deliver a frame, and then you can just buy the different arms and pick the size of, like if you want to fly a 5-inch or a 7-inch or what have you. So the video is going to be short, but I figure this will be used for the tutorial or for the instructional on the do-it-yourself builds. So with that being said, I'm kind of just going to get to it here real quick. So here's some of the changes that I've made. First of all, on the bottom plate here, which I want to make sure you guys can see that. Okay, so on the bottom plate here, I decided to extend it. Initially, it was just with this piece extended, and these grooves are here for zip ties. So you can put a part on here and zip tie it. And what I did is I extended the front as well, which will give you the option to add an additional camera or what have you, some little part down here, because the camera is actually floating above by about, it's floating above by the almost the thickness of this, which is about 6 millimeters, right? So you've got some gap under here to put something, whether it be a, I don't know, it could be a receiver, it could be anything. And again, remember on these ones, the kits are coming with the Brother Hobby Series motors. So you're either going to get the Chaos 2207.5 1750 kV, or you're going to get the Brother Hobby 2205 1750 kV. Either way, though, both are great, and they've been tested out perfectly on here. So I'm going to do a quick build. The other thing is the initial model had the mounts for the cameras as separate, and you would actually bolt those in. And what I did to make it stronger was I actually cut it into the side of the frame now. And the reason for that is you don't have to have a GoPro. There are people who had different cameras, and they asked me what to do. So I made this little plate here, and this will actually pop inside. And there is a hole here, so you can screw your camera in if you have one of those with the screws on the bottom. Or you can just put like a Firefly or something on here. So it's no longer just a gap. You can still take this off and run your straps through here, and your GoPro will sit right here. And I'll show you that in just a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get to this and show you how easy it is, and show you more about this new arm lock and the way we're doing it. So here goes. So the first thing I would do is I'd get now I've got these all put aside because this will be the first time I do the live build on this, so I want to make sure I've got all the parts written down so I know exactly what we're doing. So the first thing you do is you start with the arms, right? And this is more of like a puzzle. This is really cool. At least I think it's cool, but and I may be a little biased. I have no idea, but it all fits together like a puzzle. So you're going to basically snap it in just like that, and then you will take the next piece like a puzzle, pop it in there, right? And then the last piece will pop in here. So, basically what you can see is it all fits like a puzzle, and if you were to pick it up and you just hold it like that, everything's going to stay together. Unless I angle it, and then it falls. So don't angle it like I did. But anyways, the point being is it all sits together, and so that gives it some added strength and stops it from moving when you attach it to the quad, right? So let's go ahead and snap these back together like a puzzle, okay? And then from here, what's going to happen is your base plate, obviously, it's going to go on the bottom. and everything is mirrored. So you could put it this way or this way. It's all going to end up the same. And that's one of the things about this is I don't care which way you do these arms. They're all going to line up the same. So you can't really put them on backwards or anything. So I'm going to go ahead and just line this up just like that. And it should fit perfectly. And what you're going to do is I've put these countersunk mounts right here. So you basically can put your flight controller or your ESC, if you're using an all-in-one, it can sit. So if you look right here, you're going to see that of the 6 millimeters, about 3 millimeters is cut down. So you're going to be able to countersink your flight controller or whatever it is that you mount right there. And so to make sure it doesn't ground out, I countersunk the screws too. So I think in this case we're going to use 8 millimeters. So if you're ordering the kit, you're going to get these silver ones, right? The hand painted ones that I did. So you're going to start with the 8 millimeters and you're just going to start popping them in. Now you don't have to have all the arms together. Let me grab it real quick. 1 second. Okay, so you don't have to have all the arms together. I'd probably just do one at a time, but make sure you're doing them the right way. And so you'll line this up, and you'll see all the holes will line up properly. And so let me just get started here and show you exactly what we're going to do. So start with your first one. Go ahead and put that 8 millimeter in, and then take your fastener and go ahead and just put that in there. And I would probably just hand tighten it for now. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab one of these and go ahead and just hand tighten it real quick. Okay, because I still want some movement so I can line it up. And then you go to your next one. Like I said, it still snaps in like a puzzle. Grab another 8 millimeter screw, silver top, and line it up. Pop this in and do the same thing. So just put your metal fastener and then you can hand tighten it. So we'll do that real quick. This should be a pretty quick build here, I'm hoping. Okay, so now we'll do the next one. We can go to the top here, and we're going to go ahead and take the next 8 millimeter screw, pop it in, right, and then put your metal fastener. Okay. All right, and then the last one. Here we go. And then put your metal fastener. Okay, so at this point, you've basically got the main part of the frame down, and that's pretty much all there is to the main part. Okay, now you can see, I think if I show you that, you're going to see everything's locked in real nicely. Even with just those 4 screws, you're not getting any movement. All right, it's in pretty solid. I mean, if you jam on it, you could probably get them to, wiggle out a little bit, but this is a great start. Okay, so then once you do that, the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get your sides ready. And so to do your sides, you're going to get these square fasteners, right? These are they're going to slide in the slots. Now I'm going to start with the bottom, and just realize that they're not getting in there super tight, okay? And the reason I opened up the gap on these so they kind of slid in a little easier was because it was starting to stretch out on the carbon fiber if it was too tight. So I wanted it to be a little bit better than that, not put too much flex. So you're going to put you'll put your 2 fasteners in, or you can just snap this in your first. Now these are grooves that are cut out to 2 millimeters deep. So if you look right there, you're going to see it's kind of elongated right here. And so these feet right here are going to fit right in that slot, and it's going to fit pretty solid right there. And the edges are cut out so it cannot go past that or cannot bend. Once that's in, you can go ahead and take your little fastener right here that's going to slide inside this slot. So let me pop that in there real quick. My hands are a little bit, everything's a little slippery because I just got done cleaning these, so bear with me a second. All right, now with this, you're going to take a 20 millimeter, again it's a silver top, so you take your 20 millimeter screw, and while you're holding that in place, just go ahead and start on the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and start screwing that in so that we can get it to start fastening. And you're going to want this in the slot just like that, all right, and just start fastening it up. And what you're going to see is as soon as it grabs that fastener, it's going to start pulling it down into the groove, and you will be set here in just a second. So as you can see right now, it's grabbed it, right? So let me see if I can turn this for you. So upside down, I guess. You can see it's grabbed it. Now it's pulling it in, but I don't want to tighten it all the way because I need to get this front part in. So go ahead and line the front part up. Put the fastener in there as well. Be easier. Let me see. My little fat sausage fingers have a little bit of a hard time, so just go ahead. I'm just going to use these, and hopefully I can get Okay, so once I get it in there, line it up just like that. Take your next 20mm screw and go ahead and you can start doing it by hand. Now the gaps in the G10 where this screw is going in are tight, meaning that it doesn't just pop through that gap there. It's actually going to thread itself through the gap and then into the fastener. Once you get that fastener in, you can go ahead and tighten it down. I don't crank these down, but I mean they're pretty strong. So just go ahead and tighten it down like that. And now you've got one side put on. All right, it's not going anywhere. It's extremely solid in there, especially because it's sunk in 2mm. All right, once that's done, you have 2 plates to add. Now, one thing I did want to show you is this is something that I did because I know how irritated, if you've been irritated with your antenna before, because you start tightening one end and then this starts spinning. Now these holes are cut for both a TBS style antenna, where you have the main hole and then you have the 2 fasteners, or if you put this one in like a standard antenna and you just pop it in there, right? It's made to get in there and fit perfect to where if you spin the other side and tighten it, let me see if I can grab something here to do that with. Yeah, like if I take this right here and I start tightening it, right? And I'm gonna fasten it down, let's say, just real quickly, okay? And I'll use this here to just get going with it. Okay, so once it gets in the groove, right, like right here, now if you put your antenna or anything on, it's not gonna turn, right? So it fits in that groove. I cut it 1.5 millimeters deep. So that fits in there. So now you can tighten your antennas and you don't have to worry about this wire spinning anymore. So that was one of the cool things that I did on here to make it a little easier so that you don't have to like grip this with pliers while you tighten the antenna or whatever. So that'll hold in place now. So you don't have to have like the TBS style where you have to put in those M3 screws to hold it in place. This will actually sink in that groove right there. So I would go ahead and plan on putting this on just because. And well, actually you need to put the side on, but just don't bolt the side down until you get these on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these sides on, and I'm going to do the same thing where I put the fastener in the center. So let me see if I can get this without the tweezers. No, I'm just going to use the tweezers. So let me go ahead and put that in there. All right, and then while that's in there, just kind of put your 2 fingers on it to hold it in place. Grab your 20mm screw and get to threading it in there. This will grab kind of quickly, but I'm not going to tighten it because I need to get the 2 plates in like I was showing you. So I've got it started a little bit there. So I'm going to leave it somewhat loose and give it some flex so I can put some stuff in there. Now, at this point, because I've done the front one, I'm going to go ahead and you can go ahead and put your camera mount plate right here. And let me show you real quickly because you're going to push it out just a little bit to get it to fit in there. Now, I want to show you something. So let me grab I think I have a GoPro, yeah. So here's my GoPro, right? So on my session, I don't need that bottom plate if I don't want it. The session actually fits right in line, if you can see that. I haven't tightened this back piece down, but the session's going to fit right here. And then I wouldn't use that plate. What I would do is I would take the plate off and I would use a strap, right, to hold it in place. However, if you're using something that you need a base for, like, excuse me, like a Firefly, let's see if I can grab a base of a Firefly real quick. Let me see, I think I've got a base here. So give me 1 second. Okay, so I think this is a base I made, so let me just grab a Firefly real quick. So, and this may be a broken Firefly, I have no idea. I'm just pulling it out of a used bin. So if you have a Firefly, for example, I mean, it comes with a mount, but no matter what, you can use this plate to just mount your camera like that, and it's still gonna sit at the 35-degree angle. The hole is here. I added the hole here because some people have the cameras that actually take that screw at the bottom, and so you can at least screw it and hold it in place. So you can either put this like this, or you can put something like the GoPro, like that, and then instead of having that plate, run a strap through it. So either way, you've got multiple options there, okay? So go ahead and put that in, and it's, like I said, I haven't bolted this side down fully, so you've got room to kind of put it in there like that. So go ahead and do that. And now I'm gonna go ahead and put the back fastener in, right here. If I can get my little fat nuggets to, okay, I gotta work on this here. You guys won't have a problem. This thing is, I put it through a WD-40 cleaning with some other chemicals, and so it's like really slick right now. But anyways, all right, so it's in there, and then you're gonna take your last 20mm screw, and you're gonna go ahead and hold that fastener in place and just thread it through like you did the other ones. Okay, now again, you don't want to tighten this down all the way because you are gonna put your antenna back plate on, and that back plate is for an antenna and a buzzer. However, if you decide you want to run your XT60 out the back, let me know and I'll just cut you one for that. But it's designed to be put in somewhat like this, and so your buzzer will fit in like that, okay? And then your antenna, like I showed you, would fit in here. Now you can mount it either way, but it's going to sit at a 45-degree angle in the back. So it would look something like, if this helps you, it'll look something like that when you're done. So the antenna's kind of going up at an angle, and the buzzer's going. Now you can flip it around, whatever you need to do to make the space work. So let me take those out, and I'll just put this plate in real quick. Okay, so when again, you're going to leave it a little bit loose. I think I may have tightened that too much, so I may have to loosen. Yeah, let me loosen it back up real quick because you need to have a little bit of give so you can fit that plate in there. So let me loosen this real quick. Yeah, Craig, it's cut from G10FR4. So yes, exactly, glass epoxy sheets. Okay, so once you get that in there, and you're, I put it in there backwards. Hold on. Let me change that real quick. Okay, we'll put this one in. All right, once these are in, you can go ahead and tighten the frame down. Again, I wouldn't crank it down because you're going to be doing some adjustments anyway, but you can go ahead and just tighten it down, and it'll pop right in those grooves. All right, so there's one, and then there's the other one. All right, so that's it for that main part of the frame. Now, that also is going to keep it holds the arms in place too, and then you have one more set, which is going to be for the, when you put your flight controller in. But as you can see, when I said I countersunk those screws here, let me just take, I think this is what, yeah, this is just an ACE32 I was working on. But if you notice, it's going to sit flat in there. It's not touching the screws are countersunk, so you've got extra room there to save in order to make up for the space that I've given you here. All right, so with that done, you now have, where's my plate? Okay, so this is the other thing I changed. I did this plate, and on the plate you have two options for your XT60s. It can go in either one. I think I've got one here. It's a very tight fit, so don't plan on once you have it all set, it's going to fit pretty snug. And you can either have your XT60 sitting on the outside on this side or sitting on the outside on the other side, however you prefer. These slots right here are for zip ties. So if you take a regular zip tie and you want to fasten something underneath, you'll basically come from underneath and then bring it around, and your battery will still sit pretty flat. I extended the battery straps right here so that you didn't just have two separate ones, you had one long one. And the reason for that is because some people were using 15mm straps, some people using 20, and to try to get the space in here, it's kind of limited. So I just gave you the options to use whatever you wanted. All right, so to add this, right, you're basically going to do the same thing. You're going to put your fasteners in, the slots on the side, just like there are here. And we're going to go ahead and you're going to get some of the silver 8mm, like the ones that you get in your kit. And just go ahead and start, but do not tighten it because you're going to need to adjust a little bit. So let me just show you that real quick. All right, so once you get that in there, go ahead and just, kind of leave it loose like it is now, and go ahead and put the cross piece in. So go to if you did the back right, just do the bottom right, just do the top left. Let me go ahead and see if I can get, the top ones are a little easier for me because my fat fingers don't get in the way. All right, so we put that, and just try to keep them centered, right? Because they are loose, so just try to keep them centered when you start screwing these in. All right, and then we'll do the next one. See, so let me just take this and do it. Okay, put the next 8mm screw in. Again, don't tighten it yet. And then now I'm going to do the top right. So let me do that one. All right. Now, once you look around and make sure everything's even, go ahead and start tightening them down. And again, don't crank on it, but I mean, give it, you know, you can get a firm tight is fine. Just don't, I wouldn't crank on it too much just because it's not necessary. I mean, this frame has so many points to be fastened that it's not going anywhere. All right, so far this is what we've done, okay? So now you've got your battery plate, you've got your back mount plate, you've got your camera plate. You can remove that and make this a straps. Now, one of the things to increase the strength of this is we're going to go ahead and put these pieces in right here, right? I'm pretty sure that, I thought I grabbed 25mm, but hang tight, maybe I grabbed the wrong ones. Let me see. Let me see what I got here. No, I guess that's right. Let me make sure I got the right size, because this would be where we use our spacers, so, all right. So, what we've got next is we're going to get these mounted, and we've got one set here, one set here, one set back here, and all these are going to add strength to the system, right? So by the looks of it here, it looks like we're going to take a 2mm, and I think that might be right, so let me just check. I'm going to take a 2mm. Let me get a bigger screw here. So I guess I will go with like maybe a 10mm screw. I'll include those in the kit. I'm just right now trying to see how I want to assemble this the easiest. And start with one side, and we'll just see how much space we have left here real quick. It's going to be close, so we'll see. Yep, that should work. Maybe a little. Yeah, that's not going to do it. Hold on one second. The last one I did was 1.5 millimeters. That's what I've got sitting here. I just want to make sure. So if I did the 1.5 millimeters, I will most likely use my 8mm then. And let's see, I will go like this. I'll make the decision here shortly as to which way I want, which route I want this to go. These pieces just got cut, so I'm kind of doing the measurement as I go here. So you may end up, if this works out better, you'll end up with 1.5 millimeters. Now the original model had that, so 1.5 millimeters spacer here with the metal on the outside, right, towards the standoff. So let me go ahead and do that. And the reason the size change was made was due to the fact that the cameras are fitting in 28mm gaps, especially with the new ones that have come out, like the Fox Ear, where they have the brackets that come with them. And so once you put that 1.5 millimeters, you put the next one, and just to hold it in place, kind of squeeze the frame together right there, and that'll put it right in place. So we'll go ahead and do that. Let me tighten this down. All right, so again, just to go over this, when I say the metal on the outside, basically what we're talking about is you take, you're going to start from the outside here. You put your screw, you put the 1mm nylon washer inside, and then you put the 0.5 millimeter metal washer over that, okay? And the reason we do it in that order is because if you tighten down that standoff against the nylon, it will bend the nylon. It can press into it and distort it. So, and then once you get that on there, just go ahead and screw them into the one side of the standoff. And then grab your screw, which will be another 8mm. So most of these screws are all going to be 8mm. I tried to keep them as similar as possible to avoid any confusion, and I think the entire quad is done on 8mm, and then four of the 20mm, and that's just to get it to the frame. Let me go. This is where I have to get my fat fingers to hold this stuff a little bit better, but hang tight and I'll get this for you guys. Hopefully this shouldn't take me too long to get this mounted. I'm going to try it this way so I can get these to line up, because my fingers just don't fit and this stuff. All right, so again, you'll put your nylon, put your metal, line them up, put the screw on there. Hopefully I got this if my fingers don't drop it. And we'll see here in just a second. All right, so I think I got it there. Let's just see. So then there's your standoff number 2, and then you really only have one left, and that's gonna be the one on the bottom here where the camera goes. So let me close this. Play. All right. So, yep, that should work. All right, so let's get the third one. And again, it's going to be the same thing. 8mm screw. Goes right in here. And then you'll do your nylon. And then you'll do your metal. And go ahead and put the standoff. Just like that. Then we'll do the other side. And I know you can't see this part because I got to get my fingers to fit in here, but just hang tight. Thanks, Julio. This is yours, man. So, I mean, as soon as it's done, I'm boxing it up. But I do want to show you the 5-inch arms, and basically, I'll just show you guys the ones I cut as my test cuts. So they're not perfect. They're what I use for my testing. So you'll see some blemishes on them, but it's basically the same thing. Once I get my little fat nuggets to stop dropping these stupid washers. 1 second. Okay, so line that one up just like we did the others. And if I don't screw this up, this should go in. There we go. I think that's going to work. Okay. And that should, there we go. All right. So what we have now, and there it is. So this is the new Exodus, right? And it's the M-frame, meaning, like I said on the side, I don't know if you guys have read it or not, but on the site, and you can tighten these down, but guys, don't crank them down. Like I said, there's no need to crank these down because there's so many points holding this thing together that you don't really have to worry about it. So I'm just going over it to make sure I got at least most of it tightened here. So give me 1 second and I'll let you know. Okay, so here's the cool thing about this, right? And yeah, these are all good. All right, so here's the frame. Julio, there you go. And for everybody else, this is what your frame is going to look like now. Now, there are going to be some options to extend the back if you want. But let me explain to you what we've got. And this is what makes it cool. Now, these are mine, okay? So don't judge them. I mean, please, don't haze me on the choice here. But as you can see, I make cuts out of spare sheets. And so there was a piece missing here. But, I mean, I flew great. It's just not something you're going to end up with. These are just mine. But let me just show you what we're talking about. So, what's cool about this, and what I want you to see is, and these screws are only here to keep my stuff together, because if not, these arms would be all over the place. Okay, so you saw how the 7-inch go in. Well, this is the same thing. So here's your 5-inch, right? It's still the same puzzle. So you lay them out, right? And so it's gonna snap in just the puzzle, just like before. Okay, but this is the 5-inch version. The cool thing is this 5-inch fits on that frame. So if you want to fly a 5-inch, you basically take out your screws and you bolt in the 5-inch arms just like you did the 7-inch. So you get all the features. So basically your center will stay the same, your base plate, but you'll disconnect the arms and put the 5-inch arms instead. So it is really cool that you can fly a 7-inch configuration and a 5-inch configuration, and you don't have to change out any of your components inside. Hopefully it's a money saver to you guys for that reason. So you don't have to have 2 different quads and 2 different flight controllers or anything. So this is the 5-inch arms, and again, these are mine. They've been cut, dropped, and everything. These are the 7-inch version here. That is 6mm G10 FR4. The sides are 3mm, and the back plate is 3mm. The camera, the battery, and the bottom piece is 2mm G10, and that's it, weighing 180 grams. With the 7-inch and 140 with the 5-inch. Real thick arms, real thin here, but thick material. So anyways, just getting back to that, let me show you what we got. Okay, so that was the video. I just want to show you guys how to put together. Here it is, super light, extremely fast, and you're going to really enjoy it, Julio, and anybody else that picks one of these up. You can get the do-it-yourself bundle kit. I tried to make them as affordable as possible, and I think I have, and they're on the website now. So that's it. I'm going to actually take another one tomorrow and do the whole build. and show you guys what it's like to do the tutorial and the build. For everybody else, thank you all very much for supporting us. I appreciate you all very much. Have a great evening. I'm going to call it a night now and clean up, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, y'all. Bye.